Hi, welcome back. I'm doing this video as an update to a Kickstarter project that I launched about a month ago. It just ended. I promised I would do a video and kind of let you guys know what I learned from the process. It was my first time launching something on Kickstarter. If you're unfamiliar, you can go back and check out my other videos. It's called the Astro Kitties Tarot Deck. Basically, it was just something that I put out there to see how it would go. It's kind of a little bit of a parody deck or whatever. It's based off the Rider-Waite deck, and it just is a bunch of like silly space cats. So if you're interested in that, I'm going to put a link down below of the original Kickstarter project. And then what you guys need to know is the project didn't get funded, but I'm going to go over some things that I learned about it and what I'm going to do next time and how I think it can get funded. So basically, I had a goal, I think, of like little over $7,000, which would be able to get the deck printed and have a reasonable quantity and keep the cost low enough. I also kind of tried to price it so that when we do the upgrades, that the upgrades would still make sense and be cost effective as we go through it. So at the end of the Kickstarter, when it didn't get launched, or like the day before it didn't get launched, I knew it wasn't going to reach the maximum funding. I decided to kind of put like a little post out there to everybody that funded. Basically tell them thank you, because it was like, I was shocked when the first person like put any money to it. It was just like such a like rush of like, yay, somebody gets me and somebody gets my ideas and people like it. That was a really good feeling in general. So I do want to say thank you to anyone that did actually, back the deck, even though it didn't get funded. But what I was going to say is I kind of learned that like when I did the survey, some of the things that I thought people would be excited about, maybe they weren't as excited about. I was really hoping that the deck got funded to like a holographic level with the gold glit edges. I don't think anyone was like overly excited about that because nobody had mentioned it. Most of what people said in the comments, and I'll kind of show you guys those things and go over them with you, was that people were more concerned about like the mini deck they thought was cute. They liked the custom option to like customize the deck a little bit was fun. Maybe I made it a little bit more complicated than it needed to be. So I think for my next one, I'm going to simplify it. I am getting ready to launch another deck. This one is more of a generic deck. It's not super niche. So like if you're basically anyone on the planet, you probably can enjoy and like this deck. I'll give some more details on that on another video. But anyway, so what I learned, again, like I was saying, that it wasn't like some of the upgrades I thought people were going to be excited about. They weren't necessarily as excited as I was. So I think what I'm going to do the next time I launch it is get like a more finished product. I'm also going to upload pictures of all the cards so everybody could see them. When I was making the deck, I was a little bit nervous to do that because, one, I didn't want somebody ripping off my ideas. I've had that happen with posting stuff online before many times. I really don't like posting my artwork online anymore because I feel like people will say something, they'll see it, they'll copy it. I know sometimes people just think alike, but sometimes you can actually tell when somebody rips you off because they follow you and then they, anyways, it happens to a lot of people. So I was a little bit nervous about that. And also I didn't want to post the deck out there because I was still working out a few minor details on it. With the deck, I wanted to basically highlight the astrology elements that go along with the tarot card deck. There was a few cards that I wasn't sure like which astrology I wanted to go off of, and I finally found a really good resource shortly after I launched the deck, and like how I wanted to portray the astrology elements into the deck. So that was a lot, easier. And then I was also doing a little bit more research on some of the cards because I also wanted to incorporate like crystal, if you're into crystals and stuff like that, how the energies could incorporate or kind of feed off some of the energy of the cards. So they kind of like go hand in hand. It's kind of just like a similar message, or if like you're really into crystals, you might get something extra out of that. If you don't know anything about crystals, it's not like overly distracting in it. It doesn't like change the meaning of the card or anything like that. So that's part of the reasons why I didn't share everything up front, is because I was still kind of like working out some little tweaks. I think maybe from a buyer perspective, that could have turned some people off. I did notice while I launched the project, so if you've never launched a project on Kickstarter, people can basically give you the money or say, yeah, here's $5 or, whatever you're charging for your product. And they can give you the money, and basically they says if the project gets funded, whichever your goal is, if it reaches that goal, like they're good for that money. Probably about 2 weeks into the project, I saw a few people backing out. And I don't know if that was because they maybe thought they would like reach a certain goal, like they wanted the holographic finish and they realized not enough people were investing in it, so they pull out. Or if it had to do with just like their own financial issues and like them saying, well, I really can't spend an extra, whatever, 20, 40 bucks this month, so I'm not gonna, get locked into this in case it does get funded. Or maybe they saw another project on Kickstarter and they wanted to support that instead, whatever it is. So those type of things were something that you like want to keep in mind if you're going to launch your own tarot deck. I would say a bulk of the people who backed the deck came within the first week or two. That's when I saw the most people signing up for it. I only reached to about, I want to say like 37, 38% was the highest that I saw it. And it kind of fluctuated, it went up and it went down a couple days. So let's just say it got to 38% funded. That was the highest that I saw it. And then probably like a week or two, before the project was supposed to be finalized, I did kind of see a couple more people backing out again. So if you're going to launch a deck on Kickstarter, that is something to keep in mind, is that people can back out at any time. I've actually, since I haven't completed it, I don't know anything yet, but some people have said that they have had issues where the deck is fully funded and completed, and then people go send out their surveys, and then for some reason people like cancel their orders. I have never experienced that, but if you have, or you've heard of stuff, you can leave a comment down below. Cause that thing kind of like, scared me a little bit before I decided to launch a project. I was kind of concerned about that a little bit. But anyways, some things, like I said, that I learned, I think, just kind of asking the community what they like to see was a good idea. I honestly did not promote this deck in any way, shape, or form. Everything was organically. I did have a friend locally who kind of, made a post on Facebook about it because she's into tarot decks and stuff like that. So that was super nice and super friendly. But I don't know that I actually got anyone besides her to kind of contribute to it either. Because like I said, it is a very like specific category. So I feel like if that doesn't speak to you or that doesn't resonate to you, you're not going to back the project. So that's why I'm going to try again with a different project coming up probably this week or so. And it's going to be very generic. Like, what I mean by generic is that like anyone can like, participate in it. I also have the goal a lot lower, and it is an oracle deck, so I could, have more flexibility with how many cards to print, what size to print them, just things like that to kind of help keep the cost low. I think, again, with my original project, I had 2 different price points. I had a large deck and a mini deck. I had a lot of people sign up for the mini deck. I think when I relaunch it, I might get rid of that, only because I think if I wanted to get it printed and I wanted to print it the way that I want it, I think a full-size deck actually does it justice. I think the mini deck, it's cute, it's fun, but I don't think it's like really practical if you wanted to use it. It would be more like of a novelty item that you set aside, or like a gag gift item almost, because it just, in my opinion, when I was like utilizing it and trying to play with it myself, it wasn't like the best, product. So I think what I'll do is if I relaunch it, or when I relaunch it, I'm going to just do it the full size deck, and I might do the mini deck as an add-on feature, because there was a lot of people that did buy the like large deck and the mini deck. There was a few people that wanted to buy like extra decks. I found out, I thought you could just, if you click on a reward, you could, double it or triple it or whatever. But so a few people said that they couldn't, so I'm not sure what's going on with that. The other thing too, I think if I open this up again, I'm going to try to open it up to maybe more countries and try to get a shipping rate on that. I didn't do that with the original Kickstarter launch because the shipping to other countries is very expensive. I don't know anything about shipping to other countries, so it kind of like scares me as a person like giving someone something, like I don't know what I'm getting into fully. For an example though, like when I quote the deck, I'm just using random numbers. I don't remember exactly what it would cost, but let's say that the shipping cost me about $5 to $10 to ship just anywhere in the US. So that's a good way I could calculate it into the price and offer free shipping to anyone. But if I wanted to ship to somebody in Canada or England or Mexico or wherever, it's probably going to be at least double that price, if not more. And then sometimes you have to pay shipping and taxes and duty on sending it there. So it turns, a $30 product into a $60 to $70 product. I just didn't know that people would be interested, but I did have quite a few people saying they either privately messaged me or on like a different platform, because I shared it on YouTube, I think. They kind of asked, I wish like you would open this up to everywhere. So I think when I relaunch it, I'm actually going to try that. And like I said, just do the full size deck and see how that goes. I'm going to go over some of the other suggestions that people gave to me, and I'll kind of go over each of those and just kind of say what my initial thought is on them. Some of them I kind of already researched prior to launching the Kickstarter, but we'll go over those right now. Alright guys, here we are on Kickstarter. This is the project that I did. I went ahead and I'm in the updates section of my project. I also do want to just say one more time, thank you to everyone who backed me in the project. I truly appreciate it. Just to say that I had 51 backers was an amazing thing to me, especially like I said, since I got all this traffic organically. It's just people that stumbled upon it basically. Hopefully I can create more awareness about the project in general, and the next time I launch it, more people will be on board. But I'm going to jump down to the comment section on the updates and see what the people said, like what they liked. We have Deborah. She kind of basically just says a comment here about how she likes it. She says she has shirts and stuff inspired by this. That's exactly where I got this idea. I used to do some digital downloads of weird space cats and like stuff like that, and art for like just like college posters for people to download. And I thought it would be really nice to make a whole tarot deck out of that. So that's where the idea came from. Martha says she loves the deck. She wants to do it again. She says to put it on Etsy. That actually is my main goal. Once it gets funded, I was hoping to have a little bit of the funds, and instead of taking a profit at the end of the day, I was hoping to upload it to my Etsy store and sell it there. I might have to sell it, depending on how it went, at a more expensive price than Kickstarter, sadly. It is really expensive to print indie decks. I'm just going to say that. So if you're looking into it, you might already know that, but it can be kind of pricey. So then we have Ashley. She kind of says what I went over before about having the large deck and the smaller deck for gifting. She wants to do them as add-ons because she says she doesn't want to have to choose. So again, that's something I'm actually going to look into. I'm going to try to figure out how to get these to be add-ons. I don't know if I'll offer the mini deck up front and then do add-ons as well. I need to do a little bit more research. So on my next project, I'm kind of going to look at that. She also said maybe include tarot readings or crystals or prints. I did think about doing some prints. It was just kind of another expense to kind of go into the project. I really wasn't sure if I wanted to, mess around with that too, because when you do such small quantities of these things, it gets really expensive. And then, I run into this problem where if you're not very careful of how you set up the goals and stuff like that, you actually can become backwards in the project. I was worried about that with the mini deck and the regular size deck. If I didn't hit certain numbers, I might be printing one of those decks at a loss. So that was a risk I was willing to take to try to get the project funded though. There was another lady who said she liked the custom option of the decks. I had one person order it, which again, thank you, it was great. She sent me a couple pictures of her cat, and I replaced the card that she chose. She wanted the moon card replaced, so I let her pick that. I think when I'm doing the custom artwork though, if I have all the artwork uploaded for everyone to see, then they can probably choose what pictures they want to replace, and it might actually make that a little bit easier. So I'm looking at doing that for everybody because I think it'll be a lot better. Okay, and thank you, Allie. I love your comment about saying that this really glorifies the ridiculousness of cats. I feel like you get everything I was trying to say in this, and I do want to relaunch it, so I'm going to put that out there for you guys. Also, Kat, she said she loved the deck as well, and she also had, like I said before, the idea of uploading everything. So I think what I'm going to do, like I said, is re-upload it, get all the images out there, hopefully put a more finished together look for everybody. That way we can get the project funded. I'm probably going to lower my goal on the project and then not offer things like the holographic finish and stuff like that. If you're watching this at a later date, feel free to leave a comment or check out the project. I'm thinking of a timeline and maybe 1 to 2 months of relaunching this. You probably, if you have Kickstarter, I'm not really sure how this works because I'm relatively new, but you probably want to like hop on there and maybe follow me or something, so that way when I do launch the deck, you are aware of it, and that way you can back it, and it would be awesome. Like I said, I'm just excited that, you know, you guys helped kind of make this, you know, come to life a little bit. I feel like we're going to get there if I adjust my goals, come down on some things, and if I don't do the upgrades, I can probably get the price to come down a little bit. And like I said, one of the things I wanted to do was like a more expensive box. I might just, you know, opt for the cheaper version because printing like just, I think one of these decks, the one that I printed for myself, was almost $100. So if that gives you guys an idea of how expensive it is to print just one deck, that kind of will give you an idea why, like, I don't have, like, I know somebody on here said to, like, print out a few and send them to people on YouTube and have them review it. I would love to do that, but if I print, like, 1 to 5 of these, it's probably going to cost me, you know, $100 to $500, and that's something at this point, I really can't do, even though I want to. I just don't have the funds. Maybe I'll get some, you know, some money saved together and do that, but thank you guys for watching, and I hope this update helps anyone that's looking to do their own sort of Kickstarter project. Like I said, follow me on Kickstarter, and I'm excited for things to come, and don't forget to check out the next deck that I have coming out. Thank you.